Yeah, good day, guys. You're welcome to today's session where we're going to be talking about how you can get started in data analytics with SQL. I've had a lot of people ask me what SQL is all about, how it works, and what it really does. SQL is just an acronym for Structured Query Language, and it is a standardized programming language that interacts with the relational database management system. And relational database management systems are just software that use the SQL as a language to create and maintain our databases. So we have a couple of DBMS, which is the Relational Database Management System. We have the Microsoft SQL Server, we have PostgreSQL, we have MySQL, we have Oracle Database, and a whole lot of them. So for today's class, we are going to be using PostgreSQL as our relational database management system. So without wasting much of our time, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so populated on your screen is the graphical interface of PostgreSQL called pgadmin, and as you can see on my left, you can see server and you can see PostgreSQL 13. If you are going to be getting started, this is where you come exactly. And you can see we have a lot of tabs. We have file, object, tools, help, and in the ribbon we have a lot of icons. We have, this is a query tool, this is data view, this is a filter row and search button, and we have dashboard, we have properties, SQL statistics. These are not the bone of contention. So now, what is the task of the day? The task of the day is going to be creating a new database, then creating a table inside of our database. So that is what we are going to be starting now. How do you start? You come here, you click on drop down. As you can see, I've been working on a few databases. I have 4 databases in total, 3 default databases and 1 database from Postgres. As you can see, this is Postgres, and now we are going to be creating a new database. It is very simple to create. We can create it using the graphical interface, and we can go into the query editor to create a new database. For this class, we are going to be sticking to the graphical interface way of creating a database. So what do? We come right here, we right click on the database, right click, you see create, then you create a new database. And as you can see, a window is up. Then we have to name our database. What can we name our database? Let's just name it training. Okay, I think I misspelled that. Okay, all right, training. Then we can hit okay right here at the bottom. So we are going to wait for a couple of seconds, between 10 to 15 seconds, for our database to get created. So by the time we create our database, so we are going to be inserting a table inside of our database. And as you can see, we have our new database created. As you can see, Postgres 13 training database connected, and we have it right here on our left. If you click on this drop, okay, it's already dropped down. If you come to schema, just click on drop down. We have nothing inside of this database. We only created a database with no information inside of it. So we are going to be imputing information inside of our database, and it's going to be a structured table. All right, because SQL deals with structured tables. That is why it is called structured query language. All right, so when you click on, you can see so many options ranging from collations down to views, but we are not creating views, neither are we creating index or whatever. We are going to be creating a new table. Then when you come here, click on drop down, you see everything is empty. We have no table just yet. So that is our next line of action. We are going to be creating a new table right now. And how do we do that? I don't want us to make use of the graphical interface. I want us to make use of the second way in which we can create table or database. So we are going to be going into the query editor through the query tool to create our new table. Just right click on this, then instead of clicking create table, we can just come here, click on query tool, and this will navigate into the query editor. As you can see, this is our query editor. You can see the name of our database, training / Postgres at Postgres 13 whatever, and you can see on the right is the query history. When I click on query history, it said no history found because this is just a new database. Alright, let's go back to the query editor. Now we are going to be writing some SQL commands that will help us to create a new table, and the name of this SQL command is called create table, just like the name implies. Alright, just let's get started. You just create table. Create table. This is a command in SQL that will help us to create a table. After writing this command, the next thing we are going to be doing is naming our table. What do we want our table to be? What do we want to name our table? Let's just name it something like tests. Okay, in lowercase. It doesn't have to be lowercase, but in order to distinguish between commands and just ordinary text, you can make commands uppercase and ordinary text lowercase. Alright, you can say test. Now create table test. We are going to be specifying the fields in our table, and in parentheses, just as I opened it, open and close parentheses, we are going to be entering what our fields will be. Let's just take, for instance, we want our field to contain, our table to contain 3 fields. Let's say name, occupation, and age. Let's start by saying, okay, name. After you write the first field, you are going to specify the data type, and that is why SQL is different from other programming languages or the business intelligence tools that we have, like Tableau or Power BI of this world. Alright, so name is going to be a text data type, but in SQL there is nothing like text. Alright, although we have text, but for performance purpose, you can make use of variable character. Alright, if you specify text, it's going to recognize it. Alright, and if you specify variable character, that is varchar, is going to recognize it as well. So now we are done with the first field, name and the data type, comma. The next field is going to be what? The occupation. You can type occupation, then you specify the data type as well. It's the same thing as the first field, which is varchar, and the last but not the least is going to be the age. Age would be in numbers, so it is no longer a text data type, rather it is an integer data type. So you specify int. Is either you write it in full, int or integer. PostgreSQL is still going to recognize that. Alright, now that we've specified all our fields that will be contained inside our table, you can close everything with a semicolon. Close it with a semicolon, highlight everything, then you run. You can see this play button right here. You run, and as you can see, query returned successfully in 497 milliseconds. If you want to know whether you've created a table or not, you can just come back here to the table. You can refresh it and click on drop down again. As you can see, we have a table called test, just like we specified inside our query editor, and you can see the columns. You can click on drop down to see the details of the columns. As you can see, we have name, occupation, and age. And if you want to preview the table, you can just click on test, and on your ribbon you can see this icon. This is a table, the data view. all right. And as you can see, view data, just click on it. When you click on it, it's going to load the table with no content, all right. And as you can see, we have name, occupation, and age, and those are just the field, and you can see the respective data type as well. You can see variable character, character varying, and integer. But there is another way in which you can get to your table aside from using the graphical interface by pressing this table view icon. The other way is by using the query editor. All right, you can just come right here. We already created that. Come right here. You may decide to clean this or leave it that way and just clean it. And you can see you can write a select statement, and this is the simplest statement you can write in SQL. Select star. This star is a wildcard, and it's simply telling SQL that okay, select everything inside of a specified table. So I'm going to be specifying that table. What is the name of the table? The name of the table is test. All right, select star. Okay, sorry, the from command, select star from test, simply saying select everything from the test table. Then you close it with double quotes, then you highlight everything and you run. When you run, it's going to return the same thing like it returned when we made use of the graphical interface by pressing the view data icon. Is that okay? Now our table does not have any information. We only have the fields specified, so we are going to be inserting information into our table, and we are going to be doing that by using a command called insert into. You can see these are just related to English. All right, insert into, insert into, oh sorry, insert into table. We are going to specify the name of the table we want to insert information into. The name of the table is test. Then what are we inserting into it? We are inserting into it values. All right, open and close parentheses. We can say, you can just go to the next line. We are going to be specifying what information concerning every field that we have here. All right, so the first one is the name. Just enter a name. Entering a name in single quote. Let's just enter my name first. Okay, Tunde Morakinyo. All right, comma, then occupation, say data analyst, short, then age, let's say age is 45. All right, then you close quote, just highlight everything, then you come to run, and as you can see, it runs successfully. If you want to check whether what you've done has been recorded, you can just select star from test. All right, then you can run it. You see, we now have the first row, Tunde Morakinyo, data analyst, age 45. All right, and we can specify as many rows as possible inside one syntax. All right, like now, like we have Tunde Morakinyo already, so we don't need to repeat Tunde Morakinyo, because if we repeat it, it's going to record it again. So we are not going to be having Tunde Morakinyo in the first two rows. So we have to clean up this one. You can say the next person will be Steven Gerard. All right, and what is the name, what is the occupation of the person? Let's say a football manager. And what is the age of the person? You can just say the age of the person is 32. All right, then we want to specify a few more names, a few more information in quotes, but it has to be separated by comma. All right, can just start again by saying Frank Lampard. Alright, comma, no occupation. Okay, as for now, actually, so the person's age can say 47. So when you run this, come here, hit run, to run successfully, come to select start from test, then you run again. You see we now have those two information, and this is exactly how you can insert information into a table in SQL. So this is the task, and we've come to the end of this particular uh, tips. And if you want to see so many videos from me, you can just hit on the subscribe button to get notified on when I release the next video. Thank you. My name is Tunde Morakinyo, and see you next time.